special thanks to those of you who are listening Thanks to our growing group of contributing artists, truly helping Reinventing reach more of the right people for the right reasons. Thank you for inspiring each other and everyone in our virtual Reinventing.
Good morning, Ricardo. How's it going?
Hey, Lauren, how are you?
Doing pretty well over here.
It's going pretty good, man. I'm excited to be here today. And I thought that in the spirit of Guy Aitchison's Monday night class, we'd go ahead and listen to live as well. Normally, what I would do is you'd be using a lot of screen share with the digital format. I think today, though, we'll go a little bit more analog, and I'll be doing oil painting. And what I thought we could do is, instead of doing something different each week, I thought I'd go ahead, and what I've done is I've rearranged some of my shop, the tattoo area, and I've pushed some of the art stuff into it. That's okay, but I think what we'll do is we'll leave the still life as is today, where it's at until this is all complete. And if you guys want to jump in at any time and start messing around with some oils or some acrylics or whatever like that, that'd be kind of fun to have this experience together and walk through it. But real quick, I don't know if you guys can see it. I went ahead and screenshotted that. I took a picture of it earlier today. What I'll do is I'll post it up on the Reinventing the Tattoo forum, or the app, and put it in the group community, so that way we can all look at it and you can study it and you can work on it on your own time if you'd like to. This isn't going to be like a homework project or anything like that. I thought it'd just be fun to have to do together. But real quick, I will go ahead and screen share some information with you. So go ahead and do this real quick. Start my broadcast. Okay. I think we all pretty much know what a still life is. Let me turn this sideways. Let's go better. More screen this way. We all know what a still life is. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to choose objects of stuff that we might like or find interest in. The skulls are always one of mine. I think it'd be fun to play with some of the differences in sheen as far as how do we create these highlights and such, you know, and help, how do those highlights help with the form? So I thought it'd be fun to play with different forms of shine. There's a very shiny, glossy one on the little monkey that you see, the statuette in the foreground, and there's some brass material, and then of course there's some bone as well. Both of the ones in the back create this kind of matte surface, but there is a little bit more of a sheen on the brass candle holder that's back there. I also went ahead and put in a sheet or a canvas top, so that way we can kind of play with some of the fabric and the folds and such, and how light hits that, and how we can manipulate that idea, the concept of drawing or painting into that actual texture and shape. But anyways, so I think we can kind of move on from here. We're looking for, you know, a variety of shapes, forms, colors, and textures, which we just went over. And then I'm going to talk about, where the heck did you go? There you go. Composition. Composition is very important when it comes to these still lifes. We don't want it to look too flat. We don't want it to look too lifeless in a still life painting, especially. So what we want to do is, I'll go ahead and show you guys real quick, is that I'm paying attention to. There's a lot of different ways to approach this, and what you can see here is that there's quite a bit of like, instead of negative space around here that we're not really too worried about. What we want to do is we want to focus on primarily this rectangular area here. There's a few different ways that we can go through this and talk about how I broke it down. One of them is definitely the rule of thirds. Okay, rule of thirds is basically things that come in three can be considered harmonious and perfect. So what we'll do here is we'll kind of look at this frame. We'll break it down into three different sections. Might not be that even, but we're going to put it in. So horizontally, this is kind of what we're looking at. Vertically, it can be the same thing. What this does is it forms this kind of like tic-tac-toe framework that we're all used to seeing. That's one way to look at it. This helps a lot in photography and stuff like that too, but this is also going to be cool for us, I think, this month to kind of discover what we can do as far as implementing ideas into some of the tattoo work that we'll do, or some of the paintings and stuff that we'll do. A lot of times, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'll find myself staring at this blank canvas like, okay, so what do we do now? So it's kind of daunting, so this might take some of that pressure off you. It kind of starts to give the foundation for what it is that you want to see as subject matter. And I'll tell the story as well. We can go into that a little bit later as well, like maybe over the next few courses. So let's go here. So, yeah. So basically, like I said, we're still going to pay attention to the rectangular kind of shape. We're not going to pay attention to any of that other stuff outside of it. If we want to, we can kind of come out here just a little bit more, maybe. Maybe. Let's not do it that way. So, do. Actually, I like to do this. I like to do it more. Always looks interesting. All right. So inside of that border of that teal is what we're going to be looking for. All right. So one of the other things that we can do is kind of look for some simple, basic geometric shapes. Of course, we all know probably by now what it is I'm going to pay attention to. So the triangle. If you look at this, you'll see the center of the painting. Here. All these
What if I want to find hexagons?
You can find hexagons until your heart is content, man. We'll call you the hexagon heart. Hello, Jason.
Okay,
How you doing this
just
morning?
checking. I'm doing all right. How about yourself, bud?
Not too bad, man. Enjoying the day. It's a nice day outside. Figured I'd mix it up a little bit and do some oil painting today.
I'm prepping for the BYOB in October. Brought my own berries,
Okay, cool.
but I'm not a vegan.
You're having a very good day.
I am. So far, it is a very good day.
That's fucking good. Well, I don't know how long we have you for, so I'll jump into this real fast so that way we can get some painting and get you on some screen time here, brother.
Well, no, keep going, man. I'm listening along, and I'm really liking the way things are going. So I apologize for interrupting. Keep going,
Not at
man.
all. You're always good.
It's
All right, so
enlightening.
then if that's the case, then we'll talk about the principles of design. One of the other things that we're going to be doing over this course of this next month, like I said, I'm going to keep still life where it's at in the shop. I'm going to be working around it, but it's worth it. It's worth the cause. You got to find the good fight and fight that fight as hard as you can. So the clientele will come in and we'll be able to have a conversation about it, and we'll be able to see the process and you know the finished product in the process. So basically, some of the things we'll be talking about over the next few weeks is balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, unity. These are some of the principles of design. These are some of the things that you can kind of start focusing on, implementing into your designs, into your paintings, into your tattoos. Like I said earlier, a lot of us kind of stare at this blank canvas and we kind of hesitate or have this anxiety over it for a second. But if we can start to implement these into our approaches, into the simple fact of design, then it'll help us out quite a bit. It'll also help us create some more harmonious and like pleasing images to look at too. And it might help us find our voice a little bit more as well. Once you can start implementing these simple techniques, then the world is your oyster, so to speak. All right, so we're gonna stop screen sharing. Oh yeah, I didn't get any further on this painting last night, but I thought I'd just share it with you guys real fast. We're doing still life in Guy Etchison's class as well. We did blue and glass and metal. I found a mayo tray that I had floating around at my house, and I filled a mason jar full of soapy, or just actually soap, dish soap. And I was like, doing the introduction, and I was going after in my house and try to find something to use, and it ended up turning out pretty well. It was fun, and everybody else's projects are turning out really great too. So, go ahead and start the screen share here. So there we go. Get this one on the stand. Let's see if we can see this camera. There we go. Jason, you worked on anything today?
Well, much like every single day, I'm working on improving myself, and improving, my aptitude and trying to learn new things. As of right now, I'm working on making breakfast because, as we all know, I'm kind of grouchy unless I have breakfast.
Okay, that's good to know.
Well, you guys, if I'm just hopping back in, I may have to hop off at some point. Looks like a tornado is coming very close. We've got golf ball size hail. So Ricardo, I'm going to add you as a host just in case that internet connection disappears on me.
Okay, thank you. I hope you're okay.
Yeah, I do live in an area of Wisconsin where tornadoes happen. So
Yeah, for sure. So
We'll
it's like
take
Just
a- an
remember,
old hat.
click your heels 3 times. There's no place like home. That's
all
all
right.
you need to remember.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, Jason, for the lovely
This is my
reminder.
This is my morning humor, by the way. As you can tell, it's not very funny, but I do try.
It
Hey.
hasn't quite kicked in yet. But
No, I haven't had breakfast yet.
But you are on the East Coast. You have a whole extra hour.
Yeah, but
Yep.
I like to sleep in.
Never have kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I have no kids and I live alone. I have
But
a
you
cat.
have a beautiful home.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Pretty cool. Okay, so we're just gonna get started. I'm gonna pretty much just kind of get my canvas wet with some paint thinner. Actually, what I've been using lately is this stuff called Gamsol. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hold it right here. Yeah, Gamsol. Yeah, Gamsol. It's pretty much like paint thinner.
Oh, okay. Just
Yeah.
like a less toxic version.
Yeah, there's not a lot of smell to it or anything like that, so it's pretty odorless. And all I'm doing really is going through and priming, so to speak, the canvas and getting it wet for the oil paint.
And you've already gessoed it?
Actually, this is a wood panel.
Okay.
So it's already come gessoed. I can buy, you can buy, wood paneling at, your local hardware store and everything like that if you want to. But you have to go through quite the process to kind of prime it up yourself. So to save myself time and frustration, that pretty much is why I'm already gessoed, yeah. So this is this would be the second time I've ever worked on any oil or any panels wood. The first time was that painting that you kind of see behind me in the other screen. Man,
Maybe I should grab a piece of MDF to bring with me down to Philly. I'll get that. Maybe I'll get that primed and gessoed and set and ready to go. And I mean, no, because that would involve bringing your oils down.
Yeah,
that would just be messy. And then I'd have to pay for the extra insurance on the hotel room because we'd probably end up going splatter style with oil paints. And that would just get messy.
So negative on that then.
Yeah. So for traveling, I always find acrylics and watercolors work the easiest.
Yeah.
As far as like a traveling medium goes. They also tend to be the least messy. So. But I love working with oils. I'd love to have you come up, 1 week for just like a long week or something like that and just get away for a bit and just, maybe head up to the Appalachians and do some painting.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Oh, look who joined me for breakfast. Hello, Stella.
What's up, Stella? Good thing Stella likes you, because Stella does not like me, man.
Stella doesn't even like me. She just tolerates me. There's a big difference there. She's like, you feed me every morning, so you're okay for now.
That's awesome, dude. So if you guys can see here, what I've done is I've just gone over it real lightly with the brush first, and then I've gone over it with some paper towel, and I've just kind of scratched the surface to just kind of even out some of those strokes. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. What I've noticed is that you can start going back in directly with a little bit more paint than your brush rather than Gamsol or the paint thinner. where it's more of the oil itself. And you can start just kind of like, you know, lightly setting some paint down into some of the general shapes that you see. That's usually what I do. Today, we'll do it a little bit differently today. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through and I'm going to start scratching out some of these highlights. One of the good ways to pay attention to your still life is to take observation of the objects in the space that they consume with each other. And you have to pay attention to some of the markers for some of the, you know, plotting points or, you know, some of the sketch points, whatever it is that you want to call it. It all boils into the same thing. We're looking for angles and we're looking for simple spots to kind of landmark where it is that these shapes lay next to each other. Almost like a mile marker on the highways. And you get lost, you get break down, you call 911 and you tell them the last, you know, the last mile marker that you've seen, so that way they can find out where you are a little bit quicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my paper towel and I'm going to start just scratching in some of these highlights that I see on the skull. I'm going to get the general shape of it as well. And I think I've already started to, from my angle, put it in just a little bit too far over to the right. And then we can look over to the, you can see to the right, to the left, and then to the right. Now, whoop. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and get in the basic shape of the skull. So you can see also how, technically, if I want to, I can make this very, very forgiving. One of the things that we do as an artist, especially as a tattoo artist, is focus on how permanent each move that we make is. With oil paintings, with acrylics and such, it's always good to remember that it's just paint. It's only paint on any kind of surface that you choose to work with. So it's not that big of a deal to kind of, so to speak, we would say, mess up. Even though it's not really messing up, even though it's not messing it up so bad that we can't change it, we need to remember that it's just paint. Not that big of a deal to kind of push it around and replace it. Especially with oil, it's super forgiving because it stays so wet and malleable for such a long period of time. It depends on the process too. A lot of times I'll be using some liquid and some solvent-free gel here pretty soon to kind of help with the drying process. And each week we'll kind of get back into the painting, and by that point in time, the painting should be pretty dry in order for us to get back in it and start working on it together again. It's really fun to see you guys kind of approach this subject matter. I'd really like to see what we come up with together as a group and see if there's any different approaches that I could have used or implemented or something that I might have not seen.
Ricardo, not to interrupt, I might turn your video off of your face for just temporarily so we can get the side by side of in a little bit wider view. Do you think that sounds okay?
Totally fine with me. So let's
All right, and if you want to turn it back on at any point, just you know what to do.
Okay, cool.
So I may recommend if you rotate your iPad 90 degrees, that's going to give us a wider angle shot and allow us to see a little bit more.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you brought that up because this iPad is about to fall off. Thank you, Jason.
And you got what, a 3-camera shoot going on today?
Yep.
Yeah, it looks that way. Yeah.
This looks a lot better. Good recommendation, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate that, Jeff, man. Let me turn this just a little bit more to the side so you can see a little bit more what's going on here too. So a little bit of my shoulder here, so I apologize about that. But anyways, let's get back to it. So.
And while we're on the topic of using more than one camera, we'll kind of talk about how that's beneficial so that we can see those different cameras. And really, it's just a matter of logging into a different account on Zoom, or sometimes the same account can be used. It's just as easy as that.
There's also different types of hardware configurations that you can
Yep.
pick up. That involves a little bit more investment into, you know, getting a nice setup.
Yep, we're kind of acclimating some of the artists around Australia and the Southern Pacific areas of the world to kind of see what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, believe me, guys, it's pretty easy to get on here and ask people questions about how this works. I've bugged Jason and Lauren both a few times about exactly what it is that I'm doing because I had no idea. This is the first time I've ever Zoomed before in my life, and it's pretty fun to get into it. And everybody's really helpful with all the information that you can use to kind of get on here and join us. And it's pretty fun once you get on. I look forward to it every week. Usually, if there's something going on in everybody's traveling plans or community, and we don't get the chance to make the shows, it's like, man, what am I supposed to do with my Monday night now? What am I supposed to do with my Sunday? Holy crap! So it's really fun to kind of be a part of it now. It's like a part of my week. So I'm paying attention to the top of the head here, from the top of the skull, all the way over to that flat ellipse part of that candle holder. And I'm not paying attention to any of the detail or anything like that right now. All I'm doing is getting the basis of where I think these shapes are in relation to each other. And so this candle holder right now, all I'm going to do is just do a straight line all the way down. And you can see, I hope you can see, lighting should do a little better. So I hope you can see how I'm just pretty much erasing through that loose, wet canvas and going back down to the raw wood to expose this negative shape, the highlighted shape of that object. This makes it for me a little bit less daunting. I haven't oil painted for a few weeks now, and it's always kind of good to, if you're going to be demonstrating something, getting a little bit of a warm up, but I really didn't get a chance to do that today, so we're going to do it together. So this is a good way to approach it whenever you're just kind of not quite sure, but you really want to jump into it, man, go for it. It feels a lot more forgiving this way, I think. I don't know how you feel about that, Jason, and how often you get to actually sit down and paint. I don't know if you have a process or a technique that you like to try to implement whenever you come up to this kind of a situation.
I mean, I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, so I always try to go with the most unforgiving mediums you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with like watercolor on illustration board.
Oh,
right?
yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many people here have ever used illustration board, but there's almost no going back. Once you make a mark, that mark is there, and it's always there. So you can't really, to me, it's an exercise in discipline and knowing those muscle memories and really making that kind of a commitment instead of being able to go through and second guess myself, which is something I'm notorious for doing. That's why it usually takes me so long to draw things, is because I'm constantly second guessing. So
Joe is also here. Thanks for joining, Joe.
Joe, what's up?
No
dude?
problem. How is everybody? I was trying to be quiet and everything else. So
welcome. Another Tuesday morning. This is episode number 11.
Fun times.
Yeah, we've been doing this for almost 3 months now.
Wow.
It has just flown right by, hasn't it?
It's making the weeks fun. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Hey, Ricardo, is there something burning in your still life? Because every now and then I see these little wisps of smoke.
Oh no, everything's on fire. Yeah, that's my incense, man. It's so hot, it's on fire, son.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if something were to happen to you, yeah, I'd be a little upset.
Right? I think we all feel the same.
I might actually like shed a single tear for you.
Just one, just a single one.
Well, yeah, just one. I mean, come on. He lives in Normal, Illinois, where nothing exciting ever happens.
I wouldn't necessarily say nothing exciting ever happens. There's actually quite a bit of crazy shit that happens.
You're right. I did come to visit that one time. That was pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, that's right. And you took it with you too, damn it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not exactly normal, so I wanted to go and see what normal people were like.
Yeah. I feel you, dude. Well, you got it. You got a good little glimpse of it.
Yeah.
You can see I'm just being pretty damn messy with this right now. I'm not worried about anything other than just covering the canvas with this loose, semi-thin oil paint. And I'm still mixing in my let's see, light brown with some my transparent red, with some black, and just getting a small little dose of that Gamsol on it. And you can see some over here that are like kind of dripping. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm not trying to make it anywhere near permanent right now. All I'm doing is just getting some of the shapes in, and I'm paying attention to the overall relation of those simple squares, triangles, circles to each other in order to make it look like the image we're trying to create. This is a little bit of a slow process, this part, especially when you have multiple subjects in the same scene. If it was something bigger and I was just focusing on one of the main pieces, then it'd be a lot more aggressive with it and a lot faster, and a lot more just free will, if you will, with the placement of the paint.
Now, is there a reason why you went with the transparent red and black?
I just like the way that it sits on my eye. I like the way it sits on my eye. It makes it feel a little bit more transparent still to me, so it makes it less permanent in my perception of it. Does that make sense? And this will be the underpainting for the still life that we're going to be doing today, or over the next month or so.
So I think it's I remember one technique I was taught when I was in school was that we would go through and we would actually, before we ever prep the canvas for oil, I mean, we would go through and we would do a very light washed out underpainting of acrylic just to help cut down on drying time.
Okay.
But we were also using linseed oil and lamp oil. And if you've ever painted with lamp oil, it takes forever to dry.
I never even heard of using lamp oil for painting. That's crazy.
It's another type of oil painting medium.
Wow. Dude.
Basically, it's another type of like blending solution, or it's like a it's kind of a mix between linseed oil and liquid, but it takes a lot longer to dry. So it was interesting. But we would go through and we would do like a quick, shape or value study in acrylic paint. And then we would coat the canvas over top of that with whatever it was that we were going to be using as our liquid medium. I think you're using something kind of funky sounding that I've never heard of.
The Gamsol?
Yeah, Gamsol.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that movie Beer Fest with Gam Gam.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
I know. Such a good one. But yeah, so we would do like a very light washed out acrylic underpainting, once again, just to basically do what you're doing now, which is blocking in your shapes and getting like that rough underpainting down. And then we would go through and we would do a full oil painting over top of that. I found that really helped cut down in time, because you can always do oils over acrylics, but you can never do acrylics over oils.
Okay.
Because if you do acrylics over oils, that acrylic paint will chip, crack, and fall right off. Sounds like Joey has been there and seen that before.
Yeah, I've experimented a couple times back in college and found that to be the case every time. So that's why
I would not recommend using oil paints on paper or cardboard either. I found that out the hard way. Yeah, not a good choice, but
never tried it on cardboard.
Yeah, So I was doing some found art stuff where I was basically going out walking the streets of Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
finding random stuff to paint on. I found like some aluminum siding, so I painted on that.
Nice.
Yeah, basically I was a broke college kid and I needed something to paint on, so I was like, well, I'm gonna go dumpster diving.
Mm-hmm.
And walk down through the hood and grab some stuff. And one was like an old cardboard box, one was a piece of aluminum siding, and I think the other one was like an old tire. So brought those back, and I found that you can't really do a whole lot with the tire with oils because it's oil based. Didn't quite put two and two together there, because I'm thinking, well, it's rubber, it'll be interesting, it's got some nice texture, not realizing that the rubber is actually an oil base, so it's like
Right.
no good. And they're coated with like a water resistant sealant, so it made things really interesting. And then the cardboard definitely didn't hold up. The aluminum siding went fine though.
That's the only thing that wasn't really like porous or adjacent to the materials that you're using.
My professor literally gave us the assignment. They said, go out, go walking, and bring back 3 things to paint on. No advice, no instruction, nothing. Just go find 3 things to paint on. Now, one person was very, very smart. They went out and they found some plywood. They found some rocks, and they found an old shovel. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, you can paint on all of those things. That's genius. Like, this is what I got.
Yeah. I guess you got to think outside of the box sometimes. And what was the what was the point
Outside of the
that-
box.
Yeah.
You mean I have to leave my cardboard box? I don't want to.
There was a pun in there somewhere.
So what do you think the point of that exercise was then?
It was an exercise in basically how to think outside of the box.
Right.
Realize when you start to realize that everything is paintable, everything can be a work of art, no matter what it is or where you find it, or if it's free or if you buy it. One person brought in bed sheets.
Oh, wow.
They didn't bother to go walking because of where they lived, so they just grabbed 3 random things from their house, brought those in and painted on them. And you would never think it, but getting like a really nice high thread count cotton bed sheet, stretching that out over canvas, makes for a very smooth surface to paint on. But with just enough tooth that you can still get that little bit of like a grit to it.
Wow. I know some people paint on satin. I've seen satin paintings before, and it's incredible to me.
The only thing I've ever painted on like that was leather. You know what I mean? That's about it.
Oh wow. What was that experience like?
It was different because it was back when I was doing a lot of like leather working and stuff like that. So I was able to like make purses and stuff like that, and I deke out it like pinstriping and stuff like that. So it was unique, and it was definitely a learning curve.
Did you use enamel for that or acrylic?
Acrylic normally, and then I coated it. You know what I mean, to protect acrylic.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I coated it with. It was something specific, and I don't remember exactly what it was. That was freaking years ago. I think the coolest thing I ever made out of armor was hard leather armor for Renaissance Fair. That was interesting.
Huh. That's a whole nother approach, isn't it?
Especially when you go to like molding the armor and stuff like that, because you have to tan it a little bit more. You have to literally mold it to the shape that you want, or else it won't work.
Wow.
Did you have fun molding the cod piece?
No.
I had
was
to. I'm sorry. You said Renaissance Fair, and immediately my mind just went. He probably had to make a cod piece too.
Thanks for bringing that up. All right. Moving
Sorry, did I
on.
bring up bad memories?
Moving on.
Moving on.
Mhm.
Are you guys working on anything right now today, or you have big projects coming up at all?
Not really. I'm not. I'm still trying to work on breakfast right now, but that's why my video's off. I don't want people to watch me stuffing my face.
Oh, I'm sure that's entertaining either way. No, I'm joking.
Because if you guys saw what I was eating, you would be jealous.
Hmm.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Take your word for it.
All I need in the morning is coffee. That's it.
Did you know that Starbucks now, like I have a Keurig at home. Did you know that Starbucks now has coffee out with 2 times the amount of caffeine in it?
Jesus, they're gonna kill people one day.
Why did they do that?
Well,
like the
they
party?
did that for people like me.
Jason, you're gonna be tattooing, and people are gonna be like, "Why are you shaking?"
You'll look at him and be like, I'm not shaking. You're shaking. Everything else is shaking. I'm fine.
Yeah.
What we need to do is feed you some of this coffee so that way we're shaking in the same vibration.
Right? We need to vibe together.
Ooh, there you go. Now you're bringing it all up, all the good stuff.
Nice one, Joe.
I'm paying attention to the way the back end of this fabric comes down kind of from that point in the skull, and I'm seeing that the head of this little character here is just a little off. Say, keep pushing the paint around until I feel like I can a little more. All we're doing is focusing on getting all the comfort and things fairly close to where they belong.
It almost seems like you're blocking in all of the pure shadow tones. Would you say that
Exactly.
that's accurate?
Mhm.
That's exactly accurate, yes. Shapes, I'm just paying attention to those simple shapes. I'm using them as landmarks. We talked about a
Well, yeah,
little
but
ago.
dark shapes or light shapes?
Dark shapes. I'm using all the dark
Okay.
shapes, and like for the brass, I'm not even worried about the highlights at all. I'm just focusing on the silhouette of it. So I will introduce some white to this mixture. More of the Gamsol, the paint thinner. And when it comes to the background, you're not trying to replicate exactly what it is that you see. You're trying to make that subject matter stand out just a little bit more than what you actually see in front of you. So I'm going to go through, and I'm accentuating some of the tonal value here too. Same way that you would with a tattoo. Where do the blacks go? You know, stand out. I'm not too worried about the overall shape of the lips right now. I'm using a flat brush, so all of the soul pots, I use nothing but flat brushes the entire time. Except for at the very end, we'll get in with the little round liner kind of brush to tighten up some of the detail in the brass, and then maybe some of the pattern in the figurine. You can see here, I'm already starting to give the impression of that dynamic, of the lighting, the light of this subject matter. And I'm going to implement it in these recessed areas. I'm not going to worry about too much anywhere else. And then from this fabric here. Because we're going to use that to help me discover how wide this ellipse has to be. And I'm also going to use that to observe this angle and where the skull, that our left side of the skull lies. And I think that's where I'm getting thrown off right now, where the skull, the proportions of it are, and the rest of that head with a figurine too. I'm also going to see this side here, top of the head, this triangle that it makes. And it looks like it should be right. And then I'm going to take my paper towel, and I'm just going to erase and take out some of this paint. That easy. And that's free. You don't have to worry so much about this stage of the process. We're just pushing around paint until we discover what we see as the truth. What we see as our truth. It's always different for everybody. It's never wrong if you believe it to be your truth. Okay? So you can see I made the back of that head just a little bit bigger. I've also opened up the area for the eye cavities. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little under in too. And yeah, yep, that's a little too small. Let's see. The angles. I end up talking to myself quite a bit. Usually it's internal thought. And most of the time I have some music playing and stuff like that too. So I just kind of, I think if I was painting around other people, they'd probably like keep looking at me like, who's this guy talking to? He's got his headphones on and shit. Is he on a phone call or something? But yeah, and also I try to pay attention to the overall shapes, and that's what we're gonna do. So now I'm seeing the bottom part of the jaw, or the top part of the jaw. You see a little more red coming through, that's okay with me. And the paint is starting to get a little bit tackier now. I do have a fan going. I have some to do with that. Back on track. Back on track. So whenever we see these problems, it's okay. We don't have to freak out. You see me using my pretty much handy dandy eraser, aka paper towel. And I'm just gonna smudge it around a little bit. And I realized that because the skull's a little bit larger, that means that the proportions and everything have to go up. Now, have to do that if we don't want to. I'm trying to practice a little bit more of capturing what it is that I actually see where proportions go. I know that for me, I always end up finding myself practicing and wanting to get a little bit better at my proportions. So I'm going to go through and make it so it's a little bit more true to the source material. And you don't have to if you don't want to. The cool part about art is that we can make it more if we want to make it look. As long as you capture those light sources, I think that's all that matters. Because it can be a little oblong, it can be a little off. But the light sources is what makes it. There we go. Not exact. It's very rudimentary right now. You can see how it's kind of drawing with the brush there for a second. I've done some line work, so to speak. It's good to use that to get your recognizable shapes together. Joe, have you done a lot of painting before?
Yeah. I just right now I'm using a rubbing stub to try to get the shapes and stuff like that rather than doing the, I'm using the same approaches, just different mediums. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Good. Nice.
At least I'm trying anyway.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I gotta hop off and pay some bills.
Okay, man.
So I will leave you here. But yeah. It's
Thanks
definitely
for hopping
looking
in.
awesome, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime. All right, guys. Take care.
You too,
Enjoy your
man.
day, Jason.
You too. Bye.
Yep. Yeah. Jason's a rad dude. I'm gonna be visiting him here pretty soon. We're doing the Philly Tattoo Convention together.
Hmm.
Joe, I don't know how far you are from there, but if you wanted to stop by and say hello, that'd be pretty fun, man.
I know there's one happening down in Columbus here soon. I was thinking about going down that way.
Okay, cool.
That's a little closer than any of the other ones. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
See if I can swing it. Hopefully I can.
Yeah.
I did go to a convention last week that was happening. Nobody knows the town, but it's called Wheeling. It's in West Virginia, and it was on Wheeling Island. They call it a Resurrection Island, but it was pretty
Okay.
cool. It was the first one they had this year for that town.
Nice. Was it a pretty big turnout? Was anybody worried about the whole COVID thing? I mean, what's going
No,
on?
actually, it was a decent turnout for being, like I said, the first one they had. It wasn't a very big one. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
for what they had, it was decent. I will say that.
Nice, dude. That's fun. Feels good to get back into the world, doesn't it?
It does. It does. To get back
Yeah.
into that swing of things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fun, man, being around some new people and stuff like that. And the last one that I did was Lauren down in Texas from last segment. And that was a lot of fun, dude.
Not bad.
Yeah. Hopefully she's okay over there and not experiencing tornado. Yeah, man, yeah. I don't know about you guys, man, but whenever I start a project like this, I can get just swept up in it. And like, it's really hard for me not to contact my clientele and be like, hey, can we go ahead and reschedule? That's okay. Something came up. I'm working on a painting. Something came up. I'm working on this painting. All right. Okay.
You know, some clients would be like, sure.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And other people be like, really?
No.
Alright.
Right?
Do I have a say in this at all? I'm like, well, I mean, this is more of a courtesy. Just kidding, guys. I don't really do that often. All right, so I'm gonna start implementing some of this dry brush and stuff like that into it too. I'm gonna start blending a little bit more of these wash it together. Get that shape in there for some highlighted areas from the fabric. And I think what I'm gonna do, since I have a majority of it laid out now, I think I'm gonna start focusing on some bits, of course. And I like skulls. Skulls are cool.
When in doubt, skull it out.
Roll it out. Very good, Joe. You got them all today, man. That's awesome.
I was saving them all up.
There you go. Like you're writing them down during the week. Like, yeah, that's a good one too. I know skulls are gonna get brought up this week, so we gotta do it.
Don't give away my secrets.
Oh no. We don't need to be doing any of that stuff today. Yeah, man. So how's the shop going out there for them?
Good,
Doing
good.
pretty good. Awesome.
I got a neck tattoo I gotta do today. He did one of those household name tattoos on his neck, and he was like, I need this covered up.
Oh. Yeah, that's a fun one. Is it pretty big?
Luckily no, but it's dark, so I'm gonna have my work cut out for it. But luckily what he wants like a rotten apple, like a half-eaten rotten apple on his neck. So
Oh,
I'll
that's
be
fun,
able
dude.
to, right, I'll be able to play with it and do some of the shadows and stuff like that with that. So
Very cool.
I'm definitely gonna get some photos and put it up on the app and everything else so everybody can see it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing with us, dude. That'd be great.
No problem. It's what this is all about, right?
That's right, man. You know, bringing it up a couple, a couple more notches for ourselves, like opening ourselves up to the idea of critique and yeah, man, growth. I've taken a look at some of my drawings and paintings right before I started this thing, and then afterwards too, man. It's just like language.
It was funny yesterday. I drug out all my old sketch pads from like high school and stuff like that. Started looking through them, laughing at myself. Like I thought I was good then. Shit.
It's just semi-decent. What was I thinking?
And it's also nice to see how much I've improved since then too. Just a good reminder every now and again.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. That's why I would say I had a friend of mine, or a person in my life a while back that always got mad at me for like throwing away my paintings or my drawings and such. You know what I mean? She's like, "What are you doing? Why are you keep doing it?" And I didn't think anything of it at the time, but it makes perfect sense now. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep that stuff for your preservation. And so, like you said, you can kind of look back on it and go, "Oh, look where I've come from."
Right.
You know? Yeah, you're wild, dude.
Yeah, I have a hard time throwing any of that kind of stuff away. I don't know why. I got boxes and stacks of it.
Yeah, me too. My mom saved a bunch of stuff before she passed to send it to me. And it was pretty incredible to see some of the stuff I was doing in like junior high and everything. Like, oh my God. And she's like, look, son, it's so good. It's so good. And I look at it now, I'm like, what? Like, she really liked me in order to be able to be like, it's so
Right.
good.
Right. That's true love right there.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. She was telling her friends for real, like, this stuff sucks, but I gotta be good.
Oh man.
In case my kids watch the show at some point in time, that's not what I do with your stuff at all. Honestly.
That's funny.
Sounds like we're having some kind of drill too. I don't know if you guys can hear the lines or not.
I tell you one thing, I'm having more troubles with the folds in the cloth in this thing than I am anything.
Yeah, it's freaking crazy, isn't it?
Right? Like I think I got it, and then I actually go, oh wait, no, that fold goes underneath that one. So
Yeah, it's hard, dude. It's difficult. But here, let me take a look at what you got going on here in just a second. Let me get the structure. Make that-
oh, you're gonna put me on the spotlight, are you? All right.
Oh, yes, sir, we are. I mean, mine's right here for everybody to see. You can see all the mess ups that I'm doing.
Oh, it's your class.
So you have to mess up in front of everybody.
Well, I can't start my video yet, so
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just wait. Hang on 1 second. Let me get you going. All right, you said your video won't start at all?
yeah, it's saying that you cannot start video because the host has disabled it.
Okay.
Nobody likes seeing me anymore. I'm gonna cry. No, I'm joking.
We're good. Okay, let me see if I can. Spotlight here. Yeah, once one jumps back in, we'll take a look. We'll just keep on rolling until we get it going.
Right?
Or I just did one too, Joe. We'll just keep on rolling until we get you going.
That's it. We're all full of it today.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm kind of digging how this is becoming monitored. I love it. I think I will introduce some color to it. I might leave it with a monochromatic. So again, you can see a little bit of a deviance in the skull and the bottom part of the jaw. Yeah, sure. There goes the lines. Now the alarms are finally off. I think it's is this the first Tuesday of the month? You know what? We'll go ahead and start introducing that blue. Again, I keep going back and forth between a little bit of the paint thinner, a little bit of the oil itself, and I'm using this other stuff from Gamblin. Let's see if I can get it in the frame here. It's called it's a company called Gamblin, and it's a solvent-free gel. And this kind of just helps us get the paint a little bit more transparent. It helps with the flow of the oils for sure, and it also helps it dry a little bit quicker. And just for the sake of the tattoo itself, we're going to get it a little bit quicker to the dried. Just for the class itself, I'm sorry, for the class itself, we're going to try to get it to a little bit of a faster spot where we can keep manipulating and layering over that paint. But the one thing about oil paints is that if you keep applying it in the same area and it's really, really, really wet, it's just going to keep pushing all the way down to the canvas. It's going to keep exposing that canvas more and more and more each time you do it. I'm gonna make sure that some of those layers are dry before you get into any other tones of paint. I've only been oil painting for a few years now, but I love it. It was always so scary to me. I was always so nervous about fucking it all up, messing it all up. I love it now. Last night in a guy's class, he was asking if we could all do some oil paints, and it's really fun next week when I jump in there to get in that as well. Joe, I don't know if you get a chance. We should definitely hang out Monday night if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Again, some people would go through and delicately put all these subtle little shadows here and there, all these subtle little tones laying over the general floor of this shape now. Because I know that I probably won't do too much refining at this stage. I think what I'm going to do is just get these mid-tones of these values that I'm seeing to give us that impression of white once we actually get to the painting itself, the figurine itself. I'm just shaping it out. Real simple like. Just covering the canvas with the paint. This is always a fun part of the process, especially when you sit back. Once again, I always try to keep my brush fairly held back on the very far end of it, and I try to sit back at arm's length as much as I can in the canvas, so we can take in the scope of the entire subject matter that I'm looking at, and the figure that we're trying to shape out. And I always end up jumping back and forth because once I get one shape done, I start to see a little bit more of the other spot that I might have been having an issue with. It kind of self out, so to speak, once you get that canvas a little bit more covered. Just some good things on here right now because that's what's happening. There's a little bit of yellow in this white that I'm putting on right now. I want it to be, I think, ambient light on it. Maybe not Terminator edge area. Just to make it look way more prevalent, way more, way more towards the figurine on the right. And I start to see it run down through the chest area to and underneath the neck. And it's very subtle right now. But once you get other layering effects done, it'll really start to show through in the other parts of the painting. Oils can be made to be transparent with certain mediums. And that's the fun part about it, is creating the light source, like it's almost lit inside of the oil painting. And it's a fun application, fun medium to use. And sometimes an oil painting can look like complete dog doo-doo for a little while. And then you start adding those other layers and it's like, whoa, okay, I see what you did there now. Yeah, sure. A little bit of orange to the yellow ochre. Lighty lit on this as well. Just beefing up that paint, so layers of paint on it. And fun. It's the first time I've ever oil painted in front of anybody like this, and I just so happen to be on a camera, and it's going to be on YouTube, which is awesome. So let's open it up, guys. Let's just let it go. Bring it on. Let's have some discussions about it. And I say this every time. If anybody out there has any questions or anything like that, or they think this should have been done a little bit differently. Whoa, that was crazy. Scared me. If they think it could have been done a little bit differently, I have an argument about it that might be that I might not have talked about. Please, please, please bring it up. I want to have those discussions. I want to learn from each other, especially if it's an opposite perspective in that time. Let's have this discussion. Nobody's ever 100% right.
No, but I can pretend.
Yes, exactly. And we can do a really good job of it, couldn't we? Yeah, I know some people like that.
I know a lot of people like that.
Exactly, dude. And they're talking and you're just going, uh-huh. Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Like, are we discussing this or are you just telling me? Because I think we're discussing
Right.
what you think we are. Yeah.
Is this a lecture or a conversation?
All right.
What's going on?
Joe, did you say that you had any formal education in art?
I do, actually.
Okay, killer, man. What'd you do?
I mean, I did basic graphic design for advertising and stuff like that in college.
Oh, killer, dude.
Then I went from that to studying to be an art teacher, and
Oh.
then I went from that to being a tattoo artist. Oddly
Oh, wow,
enough,
dude. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, odd jobs
what-
after in the midst of all that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it happened that quickly.
Sure. Yeah. And did you see yourself going down the path of the tattoo artist, or did it just kind of fall into your lap at one point in time, or
A little bit of both. Like I've always been intrigued by it, but it did kind of fall in my lap. One of my friends had a machine, and they were like, "You can draw. You could totally do this."
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it went. Which is a lot of
Good.
stories I hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yep, for sure, man. It's just kind of right place, right time, almost even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That and the fact that I didn't never stop drawing
Right.
made people wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's cool. Like that's pretty much the way it was for me too as a kid growing up. We moved around quite a bit as a kid, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
so I always found myself just in the back of the class, being quiet as fuck, and just
Mm-hmm.
drawing by myself. And people, I kind of started using it as a language, you know, like if I didn't know what to say to anybody, I would just draw, and people would come up to me and start talking to me, you know. Like the way of breaking the ice, almost, so to speak. For them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Same thing I did in school.
yeah. You traveled around quite a bit, or just kind of cool?
Yeah. We went up and down the freaking East Coast from Florida up to Ohio and everything else.
Yeah, me too.
So I've been to a lot of different schools, a lot of different towns.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually settled in one area for a decent amount of time.
Okay. Awesome. That's kind of what it was with me, dude. Almost exactly. Like I was up and down the East Coast, pretty much. Yeah, like Florida, Georgia. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia. Don't ask me what city it was in West Virginia because I can't remember.
I almost did too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's usually what people do. They're, oh, we're at in West Virginia. Or, we're at in Ohio. I remember Dayton, Ohio, because that was so, we were there for like literally like, I think a week and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was pretty nuts, man, but yeah. So,
Yeah, Dayton's not too far from me.
yeah. It's odd because I can look at my painting and see it in one perspective, and then I look at the screen that's over here to my right, and it looks a little bit different. So I'm like, which one do I pay attention to? The one on the left, the one on the right. Take,
I've noticed that because your angle is a little bit different than my angle.
yeah, right. Exactly. So yeah, this will be a fun one to post up, man.
If my video wasn't disabled, I'd show you how far along I am.
Yeah, let's see if we can't get that going. I don't know if Lauren's there or not to help out.
I don't know.
You can just select it on at any time, Joe.
Can?
Yep. I forgot to tell you that. I'm sorry.
It's
Thank
still
you,
saying
Lauren.
it's disabled.
Okay, let me try this.
I'm not trying to be. Oh, there we go.
Weird.
Ha
Okay,
ha.
there you are.
There we
Awesome.
go.
There we go. This is the
Yeah.
angle that I have.
Let's do that, Joe. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you're looking at it a little bit more straight on then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's cool, man. Yeah, I see what you're doing there. You got quite a bit of the background in there too, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, I started working on it more just to get some of the definition in the skull and stuff. I'm working it, right to left since I'm left-handed.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, dude. That's a solid start, man.
It's getting there. I'm getting the shapes and the proportions, and like I said, the folds is what's really like chaotic in a way. So I'm really trying to pay attention to those and get the proportions to the figures to the folds.
Yeah, the folds. It's tricky because they curve and you see
Mhm.
angles in them. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I like to try to make it as I don't know, when I'm looking at the subject matter, like you see cameras at this one, right?
Mhm.
So when you're looking at these folds, I always pay attention. I think you can see some dark areas right here in this
Mhm.
area. So I always try to pay attention to these points and like that real basic kind of, what is that,
The
like a
shape of
triangle
it,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Yeah, and then how that relates to this other triangle here. And then
Mhm.
this cornered portion right here too. I always try to like find the strongest like fit in the shadow. So that way
Mhm.
first, and then how
The
far up I
deepest
go.
part.
Yes, exactly. So it'd be like the more recessed area, the place where light exists the least amount. Is
Right,
where you're
right.
looking for. You know what I mean? So then I would use those as the anchor points, and then we kind of start going from there.
Right
And
on.
I've tweaked mine a couple times, even just kind of recognizing it in itself, like in its relationship to the other objects in the space.
Right, right.
And it's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to like kind of keep tweaking it, erasing, especially, or just rubbing it. You have those blending stumps. So a lot of times what I'll do with those is I'll go over the whole piece with the blending stump and just knock it all back down even. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I'll knock it all back down, kind of make it a little bit more like subtle still, like subtle shapes rather than defining points. And then start refining it a little bit more from that area, from that point. So I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. At least it's I understand it, so that
Cool.
helps me.
Yeah,
Not to be
absolutely.
selfish about it.
No, dude, that's let's fucking have it out. I really enjoy painting. I really enjoy water painting, especially. Can't get, not good enough. See, I have a fairly open week this week. I'm gonna be joining Jason and Kier at the Philly convention, like I talked about before. So I only have a couple days work. Other than that, I left myself some time open to kind of packing a little bit more. I'm gonna focus this time on bringing a little bit more materials with me. It's been brought to my attention that I tend to pack as lightly as possible, and sometimes that affects things. And
Kind of get you in the end, huh?
yeah, I can for sure. It's good to just, try to change it up a little bit, see if it can make a difference. I just hate traveling with so much stuff, especially these days in the airport, and it's like so hard to even find your place in line sometimes at the airport. Without somebody like trying to bite your head off.
Right? They're always yelling at you. You're not supposed to be here. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know where I'm supposed to be.
yeah, like, hey, buddy, it's cool, man. Like, just let me know where I need to be, and we're good. Or if I ask you politely, could you just respond in kindness, please? Sometimes that's asking a little too much. I think. Let's get this going again. What's that?
Oh, was I unmuted?
Yeah, you were.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the transcript from our weekly episode on Sunday.
Oh, right
And
on.
the transcript says, "I look like we are in the alive," says Gabe. I think we're live. What about you, Goo Goo? So nothing really
awesome.
beats transcription services.
That's awesome, dude. You guys are out there making new languages, making big things happening.
Yeah, Gabe is now Goo Goo, apparently.
Goo goo. Oh.
I'm gonna have to remember that.
All we hear is Radio Goo Goo, Radio Gaga.
Yep.
Oh, Lauren, I got George Lange got a hold of me, and Ree got a hold of me, and we're gonna be doing some stuff together. It's gonna be pretty fun. We're on a couple projects together, specifically with that drawing that we started down in Texas.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see all finished up.
Yeah. Yes. I'm pretty excited to hang out with Cheer and Jason again to get some collaborative projects on with them again too.
Haha, I'm finally starting to get it. Jeez,
You got it now? It's coming
I'm
together.
getting it. It's starting to come together now. I'm
All
starting
right,
to
man.
see it. That's the thing.
Yes. It's weird, isn't it? Like how you get this like moment of like, ah,
Right.
got it going. Yeah.
And the odd part is always like it's that one proportion that's slightly off that you don't quite see right away
Yeah.
until you fix it, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. It all comes into play. And like I was saying, sometimes you have to end up, moving a little bit more around than you'd like to, but I mean, why not? Why not just go for it, dude? It's gonna help those moments as well are gonna help you remember to look for them in the future. You're gonna start recalling those moments that you're like, oh yeah, I remember what I
Right.
did there.
I'll be right back.
Okay, man. This is pretty much soil pain right here, guys. Soil pain. I've only done one other time, so we might figure it out together. Plus, we did. So far, so fun. Most important part is the fun part of it. You're the only one there. You just gotta make it count for yourself. True.
Alrighty, I'm back.
Hey, all right, dude.
I definitely like that skull you're doing. It's very
Thank you.
nice.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Moving on. The fun part would be to achieve this kind of gesture them in for now. With the angle and then the right. You know, and then like go back in with the highlights and stuff a little bit better.
Hmm.
And just pretty much paying attention to the darker values and the shapes. Get it presented. White, good tones. Got a little more time. Give it about 21 minutes here. And then I think we'll start doing our happy dance sign off. Get the rest of the day started. Joe, do you do any audiobooks or anything like that?
I've never narrated any, but I've listened to a few, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I should do you listen to them, not do them, right? Yeah. Well, actually, you'd make a really killer audiobook narrator. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Right? I think I would do pretty good, damn good.
I think so too, man. I'm gonna agree with you there, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's something that I like to do though, for sure. Whenever if I'm painting and such, you know what I mean. It's always pretty fun. Do you have any favorites that you've listened to?
I've listened to a lot of the classic ones like Moby Dick and Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz. You know, some of the more classic stuff because they're like staples to my childhood. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
okay.
And I've
Mhm.
always watched. I watched the movies before I listened to the books because I'm not much of a reader. So I'll listen to a
Mhm.
story before I read a book.
Mhm.
Hence why I draw pretty pictures for a living.
Right, right, exactly. You haven't told literally that. You just make sure and draw the pretty pictures.
Right. But more recently, I've been like driving in the car with my kids and listening to like Edgar Allan Poe and stuff like that. So
Oh wow, that's awesome, dude.
right,
Do they enjoy it?
my 8-year-old does. My 2-year-old falls asleep. So you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, both are very effective then, right?
Exactly. They
Yeah.
do their job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to do that with my kids when they were young too. I'd be like, all right, it's nap time. So just put them in the car, drive them around the block, and boom, out.
Right.
Then I just end up driving around, like especially when I would move to a new town and they were really young, and I would just discover where I was at. You know what I mean? Just let them sleep, and I just drove around town and stuff like that. It's pretty fun.
Well, that's the
So
best way to find out where roads go. Sometimes, you know.
to entirely, dude. Just jump in and go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the analogy of life right there, buddy.
You don't know where you go until you leave.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. I like that. Yeah, really.
Man, I need to slow down. Jeez, I'm getting
Yeah,
too many
you're
here.
getting, yeah, man, you're gonna break the internet, dude. Yeah, no, I've listened to a few books myself. I listened to the Stephen King stuff, like the Dark Towers on audiobook. That was pretty awesome.
Ooh, yeah.
That
That,
one, even with an audiobook, dude, it took forever to finish that series, man. The books are entirely huge. But have you ever read any of his stuff before, or listened to any of his stuff before?
no.
Yeah,
I've watched movies. Does that count?
yeah, yeah. To a certain point, they always end
No,
up
it
messing with
doesn't
stuff
count.
up.
Don't lie to me. I know it doesn't count because the books are always. I mean, with everything that I found out, books are always better than the movie, no matter
Oh,
what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because your imagination will make that so much more vibrant and vivid than any
Yeah.
movie or CG could ever do.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I agree with that completely. I agree with that completely, man. Well, if you get a chance, give it a go, man. It's really good, and the movies do kind of like take Stephen King's like books and stories and stuff and just kind of like stomp all over them,
Hmm.
I don't know how the hell they get away with it all the time, but they do.
Well, they do it with superhero movies all the freaking time. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah, how many Batman movies have we had to where the story was just a little bit not right?
Yeah. And it made the movie totally suck.
Right?
You just want to
Everything
deviate
that
it just a little bit. Look what you've done to the universe, man. You've messed it all up.
I actually got all excited because I bought a Batman cowl not that long ago. Like
Uh-huh.
a couple weeks ago, I went to Spirit Halloween, and the same time I got my Beetlejuice mug, I bought a Batman cowl. And super excited
Awesome.
for that. I don't know
Right.
why.
So,
I'm a
no, because
geek,
Batman rules, dude.
right?
This Pattinson one looks like it's got some promise. I don't know how you feel about it, but it looks like it's got a little bit of promise to it.
I'm excited to see it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because Michael Keaton's getting into the bat suit again, and I'm a
Yep.
big Michael Keaton fan.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
been
Yeah.
the better Batman ever since there was a Batman.
That movie came out in 1989, didn't it? 'Cause last night
Yes,
we
it
were
did.
talking the things that happened in 1989. So, and one of them was guys been tattooing for 33 years. You know what I mean? And
Huh.
it was incredible. But then the other one, I had mentioned the Faith No More album, which I fucking love Faith No More.
Hmm.
I forgot entirely about the Michael Keaton Batman. It's incredible. And then, Jack Nicholson is the Joker.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes about of it because, like I said, the new movie coming out is supposed to be like, well, one's the paradox, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mhm.
Hence the
Yep.
multiverse and everything else, and the other one's like year
Yep.
one
Yeah.
where Batman first starts out. Like,
Yep.
I don't know, I'm probably gonna get a lot of slack for this, but I did not like the Dark Knight and how they started out how he started out.
Really? That's interesting.
I did not.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Okay.
here's my defense on that. They
Let's
made
hear
that
it.
Batman way too human. He's a comic book character for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Okay. Okay. So you mean like as far as in terms of his world, the world that he was in?
Exactly. How he reacted to things, the situations that he put himself in. It was way too human to be a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took the magic out of it to that aspect. Except,
Yeah.
there are a few exceptions to certain things in the movie, but overall, that's how I feel. But that's just my opinion. Nobody has to agree with it.
I'm gonna go ahead and go interesting, and then
Right?
that's it.
Hmm.
That's interesting, Joe. So we're gonna go to sign off now. Okay. Talk to you later, Joe. I'm just saying.
I
You're
see
like,
how
hey,
it
dude,
is.
what the heck? Yeah,
I
no
see.
doubt. Oh yeah, man. get it. I love Nolan, just simply for the fact that, like, you know, he did have a vision for it in Goyer. They had a vision for it. And they
Mhm.
kind of told, you know, they told the production company where a lot of people, like even Snyder, you know what I mean, gave in to the demands of the production company. I mean, they're the ones paying for it and everything like that. But some people, directors, no one would just be like, no, dude, this is what we're gonna do. You mess it
Mhm.
up, it's gonna mess up the entire thing. You know, and I don't know, did you watch the director's cut of the Justice League? So
Yes.
it was great.
Several times.
Yeah, dude, it's well worth it, isn't it? It's like, yeah,
Yes.
4 hours of my life, no problem. Let me sit down and watch this movie.
Hmm.
It's a fantastic rendition of it, dude, for sure. And it should have been done like that in the first place.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, he went through some hard times during that, for sure. And I think his daughter was had committed suicide during that. I think that's part of the reason that the movie took the turn that it did, and the
Right.
hands that were involved, yeah. I'm getting to a point where I'm gonna be comfortable with leaving this right now. Just some white, you know. I'm not worried about any of the brush strokes showing through. From that point of view, it looks pretty smooth, but I'll show you guys a close up here in a second of what this actually looks like. Might blow your mind a little bit. Yeah. Go ahead and get this turned around. So I will probably, if I get any extra time this week, I will probably work on this again on my own time. And I will kind of post some progress if I do. Let me get this thing off of here and get the camera turned around. So there's the process so far. There's my setup. This is kind of my perspective on it here. And there's the painting into this piece so far. You can see how chunky everything is. I really like that chunkiness to everything so far. I'm not going to keep it like that, of course. We're going to kind of go in and refine it just quite a bit more, but so we got so far. And yeah. So, that being said, I'll go ahead and start giving us some sign offs here. I think it's time to call it a day. Joe, I'm going to get you on the spotlight here, buddy.
Oh, fun times.
Yeah. And I'm highlighting you. Yeah, go ahead, man. Let's go ahead and get you to
No.
let everybody where
Hi.
you're from.
My name is Joseph McFarland. I work at a shop in West Virginia in Wellsburg called Mountain State Tattoos. And I like to come on here and say funny stuff. So
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'd be cool. Thanks for joining us today, Joe. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, no problem. I'll see you guys again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, killer.
Great to see you, Joe.
See you guys later.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Let's see. How do we get this other camera going?
Sure. I will select from my participants, I believe, right now. That work for you?
Oh, so that's the third video. So that'd be it. Yep,
There we go.
All right, cool. All right, so spotlight for everyone. All right, there we go. I got it. Hey, I'm getting it.
Yep.
But yeah, my name is Ricardo Sturdivant. You can find me at Candor Tattoo. And then on the Reinventing the Tattoo app, you can find me under Ricardo Sturdivant. Like I said, I'm going to be posting this still life up here today in the group for the group category for everybody to kind of use if they want to participate. That'd be great. Go ahead and send us some progress photos. If we can make some paintings out of them, that'd be fun. If you want to work digital and stuff like that, totally get it, man. Sometimes it's just easier, a little bit more convenient. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Anybody who's listening, anybody who wants to join in, just jump in. We've been talking a little bit more about how easy it is to actually get set up. If you guys have any questions about that, go ahead and send us an email or a message, and we'll walk you through it. So, Lauren, thank you very much again for your time.
You're welcome.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you, and I hope everything goes well for you today. So,
Thank you very much.
see you guys later.